Good day to you. It's another edition of the Know It Loud It series with Rhealyz Africa. My name is Feranmi Omolade, and I'll be your host for today's event, along with Afolabi Adediwura, who will be hosting the show with me today. Good day to you, Afolabi.
Good day.
It's nice having you on the show with us today.
It's nice to close this show also with you.
So, how was your week? Last week, how was it for you?
It was quite hectic, particularly on Tuesday when we were celebrating the International Day of Culture. Like, I was in Lagos to collect the prize for winning the NSA competition.
So you write?
Yes, I do.
Wow, I'd love to see your writing someday.
So now, this is still the Know It Loud It series with Rhealyz Africa. And we are here to empower girls to lead their rights, their future. We'll be having guests on the show who will be taking us on this topic. And now we'll be going on a very short break showing girls who are breaking the bias, who are telling us that we are challenging ourselves to break the bias in our various fields. We are telling ourselves to be the best, and these are one of the things we do in Rhealyz Africa. See you. So, and as we will be seeing girls who were being interviewed, they were doing a challenge on International Day of the Girl Child. They were celebrating the International Day of the Girl. Like, I was wowed by those videos.
So the way I even watched it, I was like, wow. So girls, like, if we're given the opportunity to talk, I'm sure that we'll have a lot to say.
Yeah,
we have a lot. We won't just want to pour out and like.
There will be more.
So yes, looking at it, and even yesterday on our radio show, we had girls from Rhealyz Africa.
Right, they're just talking.
And when I was again, I was like, wow, I was like, this is so interesting. I wish we could have more of those radio shows. I wish we could have more of those radio shows, and just we should pour out our mind, tell our point, and like give our views about issues that we face in the society today.
Yeah, that's true. Because we are the girls, we are the ones that are concerned about this.
Yes,
so once it's affecting us, so we should be the one to take the main, like take the bold step to step forward and say yes, we can be more, and we'll be more. Like we must break this bias in whichever.
We have to challenge the stereotype, even when it comes to job. Looking at job issues, even today when I was coming, looking at the issue of tricycle. You know, mostly we see men are the one riding tricycle. So I was surprised today to see a lady riding the tricycle, and I was even proud to enter the tricycle because we're all females inside the tricycle. I was like, wow, this is something. We are breaking the bias. We are challenging the stereotype.
I really, the stereotype is really changing.
Mm-hmm.
I was less human. I grew up believing that my dreams were not valued and that my gender was a disadvantage. Now, I know the narrative is changing. Girls are rising up across different sectors to take their places, changing lives, breaking bias, challenging stereotypes. We can be more and we will be more. I, Adediwura Afolabi, I rep Rhealyz Africa.
I, Adediwura Afolabi, I rep Rhealyz Africa. I, Rhealyz rep Rhealyz Africa. I, Afolabi Adediwura, rep Rhealyz Africa.
I, Rhealyz rep Rhealyz Africa. African National Day of the Girl Child.
Magic, I see it in your eyes. You've got ability to create what you wanna see, yeah. If only you can make that move. If only you can try to do what is waiting on you.
I grew up believing that I was less.
Welcome back from that break. I hope you enjoyed the video of our Girls Here at Rhealyz Africa. It was done by our Girls Here at Rhealyz Africa to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. Looking at the video, I still like challenging stereotype because even from what I said earlier that we are now challenging the stereotype.
Yeah, a woman driving a tricycle.
Because there's not supposed to be a segregation that okay, this particular career is for this gender, this particular stuff is for this other gender. But looking at it now, we're already challenging the stereotype. On today's show, we have 4 guests from across Nigeria, Zambia, and Ghana who will be speaking to us about the topic empowering girls to lead their rights, their future. Our first guest on the show is Miss Comfort. Comfort also is a British-born Ghanaian award-winning animator, illustrator, and visual artist. Her short film movie Black Barbie has been an international hit and has screened in more than 50 film festivals across the world and has even won several awards. Comfort is the first Ghanaian animator to win the African Academy Movie
That is a
Awards
wow.
for Best Animation for our web series I'm Living in Ghana Gets Me Out of Here. She's currently working for a production as the assistant director for CB preschool show Jojo and Grana and Gran Gran. On the show we have Miss Comfort. We have Miss Comfort on the show. I would like to welcome Miss Comfort to the show. Hello, Miss Comfort.
Hi,
Hi, it's nice having you on the show with us
it's nice to
today.
have you. Let me just push my toe here.
So, growing up as girls, we have dreams, we have goals we want to achieve, and probably due to our gender and some other issues, there are some limitation. So, for you, how was growing up for you as a girl child, and what are some of the limitations you faced due to your gender?
So, firstly, thank you for having me on here. It's really, I mean, when I get this opportunity to encourage, I'm always up for doing this. So, for me, I was born in the UK and I didn't actually have this issue with being a girl and doing animation. I was lucky because when I'm growing in school, there's that sense of equality. You can, if you want to go into art, you can go into art. If you want to become an animator, you can become an animator. My issue that I had, the problem was my parents not thinking that art would provide money or stability for me. So it wasn't my gender that was the problem, but it was actually African parents wanting you to do medicine or science and or law. So that was where the problem lied when I was growing up. But thankfully, my mother realized that I had a passion for creativity, and she herself, who's a very creative woman, realized that no, I can't push my daughter into something that she doesn't want to do. And so I ended up, doing art and design, and that led me later on doing a degree in graphic designing, which led me to doing a master's in animation. And then when I realized that there was a little bit of issues with my genders when I moved to Ghana. And then the whole idea
So now in Ghana.
Exactly. So when I moved to Ghana, it was now an issue that there was not a lot of female animators. So that's when I realized, there's a problem. There's not a lot of us here. As opposed to when I was in England studying, there's a loads of female, animators and a lot of female going into the animation. But then there is that problem. There's not a lot of black female directors in animation in England. So there's a lot of problems when you go to the UK. There's that problem of trying to find a black female director in animation. But here going to Ghana, it was finding actually female animators and stuff like that.
So now going to Ghana, how are you able to bring this animation stuff to encourage other girls to join the animation world, not just go for other things? Because you said in UK it was easier for you, we had easier for you to go into that, but going to Ghana it was different. So how are you able to bring other girls on board to go into the animation world?
So the thing is, what I realized when I lived in Ghana for 8 years, and there was this idea that girls can't do animation because it's been ingrained in a lot of our heads that it's a man's occupation and only men can do it. And what I noticed as well was the mentality that a lot of females had was that, okay, if I do animation, it's not going to bring money in, which is or art and design, you know what I mean? So for me, when I was in Ghana, there was a lot of hustling. As an artist, you're going to have to hustle and and not be a freelancing. So it's a matter of just encouraging girls to just get involved in going to school and getting parents to my mother, she understood that this is creativity. And again, your parents, because a lot of time we always just focus on the gender issue, but we don't also need to educate our parents into the understanding the importance of creativity and art as well. And so that was in Ghana. So with me, when I was living in Ghana and becoming an animation, there was this, this there was this time where there wasn't a lot of us, but now as years have come, there's more girls joining into the movement of animation, both in Ghana, Nigeria, West in East Africa, and it's amazing how many more women are actually getting involved in animation, and it's not just a male orientated profession.
So what are some of the peculiarities of yours that you would say made way for you to be an animator? Like, what are some of the peculiarities of yours that would say made a way for you to be an animator?
So I didn't tell you guys or how I got into animation. So I feel like I need to give you like the backstory. So as I told you earlier on, I studied graphic design, and then I went into animation. I mean, did an MA in animation. So, and I went to a really top animation school in the UK. So I thought that, oh, when I finish, I'm going to be able to get a job straight away. But that wasn't the case. Instead, I ended up working in a supermarket for 5 years.
After studying animation?
After studying animation. So this is what, so it's not just a gender thing. It was also just trying to get in England to get experience, which is very difficult. So then I decided to move to Ghana, which I did. And instead of working in animation, I worked in a production company as a film editor. And I spent 3 years editing. And then I realized that I'm not doing what I love to do, which is tell stories and make animation. So I just started making my own short films and then put them into film festivals. So the first film that I did was The Peculiar Life of a Spider, which got me my first AMA nomination. Then my second film, Imagine, which was about the Chibok girls in Nigeria that got kidnapped. And that made me win an award. So I realized that when I started making my own short films, that was actually going to help me get my name out there. And the thing is, I was telling stories that matter, important mess stories like Black Barbie that tackles skin bleaching. And so that's how I got, into filmmaking and making so the thing is as a girl, it's about you just making that move and deciding what is best for you and making your own films.
Yeah, just make that move. Don't just wait till you are given the opportunity to go for it, but you just have to move into it as possible. So what are the possible gender bias in the animation industry, and how can aspiring
Hello? Hello?
themselves? So what are the possible gender bias in the animation industry, and how can aspiring female get over this gender bias in the animation industry?
I think one of the issues is that, again, there's not a lot of us in the industry. So there's this assumption that it's only men that can actually direct an animation and or be like at the top end of things, and especially if you go even into the UK now, I'm an assistant directing on a top show called Jojo and Gran Gran, but there's not a lot of us Black women. So I don't know, I won't say women, I will talk about directly Black women getting into those spaces. We're not given those opportunities because there's not a lot of us, available into those spaces. And I also think that's one of the biggest issues why there isn't a lot of opportunities for us, because we feel that it's a man's job. Animation is a man's job, but it's not. There are so many African animators, female animation directors that are doing amazing stuff. And I also feel like we need to start making more noise about female directors. Or animators. I think that's another issue, that because there's not a lot of noise being made about us, not a lot of people know that there are quite a lot of us around Africa. And I think that is one of the other issues that, we need to, talk about more.
Okay, yeah. So if not animation, what other things do you do in making a difference? If not animation, apart from animation, what other things do you do in making a difference?
So in fact, because of these issues of the lack of women in animation, for a couple of years now, I've collaborated with Ledema Foundation, which is if those of you that are listening, you should follow them as well, because they are a organization that is actually focused on giving more opportunities to females in script writing, animation, film, etc. And so for the past 2 years, I have created a curricula for them to teach young women around Africa animation. So I've been doing a lot of that teaching, and while I've been in the UK, I've been teaching young children, specifically Black children, collaborating with therapists and helping them use animation to help them discuss their mental health issues.
Okay, well, that's nice. Like, you empowering other women to like go into the animation world, and everything you do. I appreciate you for that. So thank you for this wonderful section. I really learned a whole lot from what you said. And you saying like, as girls, we have to like go for it. Just believe in ourselves that we can do it. If we have that passion for animation, go for it. Don't just like wait till you are given the space, you are given the opportunity to go into animation. And you also have to pass the message that you want to go into animation to your parents. Communicate your ideas to your parents that you want to go into animation. So what are your final words to girls out there who wants to go? Okay, we would love to show Miss Comfort's video about one of animations in the animation industry. So after that, we'll come back and would ask her for final words to girls out there. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Mal Show. I'm your host, Moss, and today we're here with a new guest.
And to those who are just joining us on the show, it's our Know It Loud It series with Rhealyz Africa. And it's a special edition to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. And in case you have any comments to drop, you can drop it on the comment section with emojis in the chat box. And you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Do It Right RGN on all the social media handles to see what we do and everything.
He is feared across the continent. Welcome to the Mal Show. I'm your host, Moss, and today we're here with a new guest. She is feared across the continent, taking no prisoners. Our infamous serial...
Wow. It's like the audio is not coming out, like we only have the video section. So to Miss also, please, what are your final words to other girls out there who possibly want to go into the animation world, or possibly just girls in general? What are your final words to them out there?
You can do whatever you dream that you have in mind to do it. Don't think that what society says that you can't do it, you can do it. Also, if you want to get into animation, there are opportunities. I'm not sure in Nigeria or in Ghana, but there are certain schools that are also teaching it on a university stage. Even there are opportunities to learn the basics of animation by getting a smartphone and getting apps which you can try out stop motion animation. So I wouldn't I don't believe that anyone should restrict themselves into thinking that they can't do or get into spaces where they feel that it's a very male orientated space, and just believe in yourself. You know, there are a lot of us that have managed to struggle to get to where we are, but there are a lot of us, and very soon there are going to be more female animators.
Wow, thank you so much, Mark, for that wonderful section. It's nice having you on the show with us today, and hope to see you again.
Bye.
Bye. So now the video is back and we have the audio. So let's watch the video of Miss Comfort Author.
Mal Show. I'm your host, Moss, and today we're here with a new guest. She is feared across the continent, taking no prisoners. Our infamous serial killer, Anopheles. Anopheles, tell us, what is it like to be you?
I love being me. I love being in the shell of a body. A body with a wide field of vision that allows me to see from different directions at once. Antennas sharper than the smell of fear. Veined wings that race against the wind. And 3 fine pair of legs that steady my armor as I dig into flesh for blood. I love being me. I love being a night biter. In search of a blood meal every 2 to 3 days. Because we all know that a girl's gotta eat. I love that I can lay 50 to 200 eggs at a time. And all I need is a little moisture to breed. Give me swamp or marsh, puddle or pool, ditch or drain, gully or hole, empty container or tin, and I will breed. I love the duplicity of infecting people with malaria as I feed myself. You wonder why humans call me Anopheles? For a species that believes in the power of a name, you would think they would name me anything but useless. I love knowing what one ordinary trip to suck blood can do to the bodies of humans. One infected bite from me, and the next thing you know, they start to experience fever, nausea, headache, body aches, vomiting, shivering, and just like that, malaria has arrived. Do you know how powerful it feels to know that no one is immune from my stink? I single-handedly spread disease from south to east, north and west. Accra, Bantama, Tamale, Hohoi, Savelugu, Takrade, Angloga or Prestia, I spread from person to person. Men or women, old folks and young people, no one is spared. And especially invigorating is how potentially deadly the parasite I leave in bloodstreams.
In Africa. So, to Miss Comfort, before you go, how do you derive inspiration to create brilliant content for your comic, as a lot of them are relatable to the Black community? We acknowledge your astounding work with the comics on Anopheles, the smallest serial killer and the enemy of Africa. So, how do you derive inspiration to create this brilliant content for comics?
So for me, with this short film, we were commissioned by Comic Relief, and for me, just just hearing people's conversations, just going out and hearing people speak and stuff like that can inspire me. So
Sorry,
I
to the screen, to the front of the
sorry.
screen. Yes,
Sorry.
thank you, ma.
Sorry. So for me, inspiration comes everywhere from just listening to conversations in the trotro, overheard conversations, speaking to people, but I always try to creatively use humor to tell important messages. So so that's how I get inspired.
Okay, wow. So, what plans do you have for we girls at Realize Africa? What plans do you have for us related to your animation and everything? What plans do you have for us for we girls here at Realize Africa?
I don't get the question, like plans as in.
Like, how can you help girls out here, like in media world, in media world? So, how can you help we girls here at Realize Africa to like? How can we push like we girls
Oh,
to
okay, I see what you mean
empower
now.
us
I
as
think
girls?
in terms of Realize Africa, I mean, creating workshops for girls in terms of animation would be the first starting point to encouraging more girls to get involved. Because as I said, some girls may see what's on like see on the screen animation, think, oh, this is too difficult for me. So just creating small workshops and getting girls to actually understand what animation involves can actually encourage more girls to actually want to get into animation. But everything starts from somewhere. So that's why I say small workshops can actually make a difference.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Miss Comfort. It's nice having you on the show.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah. So now we have Mrs. Tope Ogundipe from Nigeria. Ms. Tope Ogundipe is the founder and director at Techsocial Consulting, a social enterprise focused on reducing digital inequalities and digital harms for vulnerables and underserved groups and for women and girls. She is an advocate for women's rights in the digital space and has worked on projects with the World Wide Web Foundation, which involves research and policy advocacy on mainstreaming gender in national ICT policies. Good day to you, Ms. Tope.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good day
I
to
hope you
you,
can
ma'am.
hear me.
It's nice having you on the show with us.
Hello. Yeah,
Yeah.
nice to be here as well.
Yes, thank you, ma. So, what exciting parts of your childhood as a girl child will you say helped you into who you are today? Like, what exciting part of your childhood helped you into who you are today?
All right. So, as a girl child, I was on the quiet side. I still have an introverted side, even though my job always positions me as an extrovert, but I still have a strongly introverted side. So as a girl child, I was not like the very boisterous type, but I had a lot of fun with books. I read a lot. I still read a lot. I think that's one of the things that really shaped me into who I am today. I read a lot and I traveled a lot, had a lot of exposure through books. I had a lot of ideas through books, had a lot of imaginary friends, visited imaginary places. And
Right.
I also, yeah, thanks. I also had a father who traveled a lot based on work. So I remember that during the what we call the long holidays, the summer is what other people call it. I was always like going from one state to other and our family was large. We were 5 children, and we were always traveling, and that was also something that I really enjoyed about my childhood. So I wasn't a child that spoke a lot, but I observed a lot, I read a lot, and I asked a lot of questions. So I think that these were like the really exciting parts of growing up for me.
Wow, nice. You had a nice childhood journey. So, seeing how females
Yeah.
are not really in the field of technology, how were you able to develop interest and create a name for yourself in the tech world? Like, how were you able to develop interest in the tech world, and how were you able to create a name for yourself in the tech world?
Well, so I think one of the things that really helped me, like I said, growing up is um, I think because of the exposure that I had as a child to books and to what was possible, my horizon was beyond where I was growing up and the three professions that people usually, so if you were in the sciences, it was to be a doctor; if you were in the arts, it was to be a lawyer; and if you were in the commercial class, it was to be an accountant. I think I dreamt of more possibilities. It wasn't like I really knew what I wanted to do from when I was 6 or something, but I was aware about my own gifts, my own capabilities. I was aware about my own interests, and I started looking for like areas where I could express those interests. So I was in the sciences because my parents would hear nothing about like going to the arts or anything, even though that's what I wanted to do. Like I said, I was very interested in books. Um,
Yes.
and I was aware that I had the gift of communication. Reading and writing was my thing, but my reading, writing, and speaking, I think. But my parents would hear none of the art class, especially if you're fantastic with the sciences. So why would you want to waste your brain? Was exactly the question my father asked me. So I went to the science class, but as I went on ahead, I think I came to the point where I realized that I didn't have to be a doctor. I could be other things, even though in the beginning I wasn't exactly thinking of tech. I didn't go into university to study a technology course. I didn't do the sciences. I wanted something
Okay.
engineering. And you know how if you don't get the cutoff mark into engineering, then they give you something else that is not engineering, and you've never heard about this course before, you don't even know what it is. It was one of those courses that I did. But finishing from university, I pivoted back into like my core interest. My core interest was communications,
Communication.
media was, yeah, and advocacy. Those were like the intersection of my three core interests: communications, media, and advocacy. And I was looking for, and at the time, I thought the only thing I could do was work in like maybe a communication-based organization or like TV, radio, and stuff. Eventually, but because of my interest in advocacy, I also was closely aligned with non-profit, and I was seeing what people were doing. And it was at this time of like exploring this interest that I came across non-profits that were doing advocacy around technology-based issues. So it was at this time that I got wind of the idea of public interest tech. At that time, I didn't know what it was. So like you can combine policy advocacy with technology. So you don't have to
Okay.
code, you don't have to just be someone who, you don't have to just be a lawyer. There's actually like an intersection of what we call public interest tech, that is of advocacy around inclusion, fairness, trust, around the internet and technology issues.
Yes.
But so that was how I found the intersection with all my interests. I got into tech, and I didn't have I didn't it wasn't something that I figured out. I didn't have a template for it from day one, but I have the tendency to be focused on anything I find to do. That's a principle. There are people who say, "Oh, this is not my passion," and I'm very mentally looking for my passion. That's not the way it works with me. And at this time I was learning. I was aware that I was not an expert at anything, and I need to learn. So if I found anything to do, I did it with all the energy in me, and I
All
think
your
that's how I
mind.
grew the expertise I have to do.
Wow. That was a nice journey going into the technological world. So over the years in your different career fields, you must have faced different forms of criticism or gender bias as a female. How did you cope and manage with such situations where there's this like, okay, why are you going a female going into the technological world? So how are you able to like manage and cope with these forms of criticism and gender bias?
So, so I think I have this very very nice. I don't know what I just call it a part of my personality or some type of strength. I don't pay attention to what I'm not supposed to pay attention to. I don't see what I'm not
Okay.
supposed to see. Not like I don't notice it, but I don't pay attention. It doesn't mean anything to me. I remember being told that someone had said, a relative had said at the time I was born to my mother that, or to my father, somebody like she had another girl. I had, I have, I have a female elder sister, so it was like that's enough of girls. It's just one that I was before me, just a girl before me, and then it was me born. And this person I said, "Oh, to my mom and to my parents, oh, she had another." So okay, I think the person said to my dad, because my mom was relating this story to me. My dad wasn't around when I was born, and then my dad came, and this uncle said, "Oh, look at it, she had a girl again." And my father was very cross. That why would you say she had a girl again? All children are children. So um, um, yeah, Comfort is very lucky that she was born in the UK and didn't face all of this. I faced that. I was told as a girl that I asked too many questions, that I talked too much, even though I was quite introverted. But if I was opening my mouth, I was asking questions, and that really riled
Questions.
up people. Yeah. So, but the thing is, I have that personality from when I was a child. I don't pay attention. Not like I don't notice you that you are there, but I don't pay attention to it. If I have a mantra in life, good, if you are good, you are good. Every other thing is just like, I don't know, noise. If you are good, you are good. Yeah, there've been times when okay, so for instance, the organization where I used to work, I later found out that one of the members of staff went to go and meet the executive director and told the executive director in the early days that a lady shouldn't be leading that organization because I won't have enough emotional intelligence to lead. I got to know this from the executive director several years after this person had left the
Right.
organization. And, the organization was thriving. In fact, if anything, better than thriving. And we were just joking and talking about, where we're coming from. And he said this to me. Of course, I saw the attitude of that person. It was very averse to my leadership. He didn't think, it was always trying to disobey, always trying to give a tough time. But I didn't notice him, and I didn't descend into that level with him. Do your work or get out. So I just have this thing of like, I'm very laser focused. I'm going to where I'm going. I don't see you that I've walked into rooms, honestly, where people, I can see that, they're a bit disappointed. Where is the executive director? Where is the leader? Sometimes you are the leader and they're the leader. Where's the expert? You are the expert and they're expecting someone else to come. But I like being sometimes I even enjoy being underestimated, because then what you bring to the table then becomes, oh wow. So
Wow. They'll be shocked to see what you have.
yeah, they don't see you coming. So it's something that I've later enjoyed. Like, people, before people see me, especially Nigerians, they on email threads, they call me sir. Right? I don't know whether that's because my name is kind of masculine. I don't know whether that's because someone who is in leadership within the tech sector is a sir. So they just sign they just call their sir. We don't know if you will be able to do this, sir. We are writing this proposal to seek this, sir. And sometimes I just let it slide. I don't say anything, especially if I know that we're going to meet eventually. I'm like, okay, I want to see the look on your face when you find out that it's no, sir.
Yes, so that it's a female that's the leader.
I correct it, but to be honest with you, right? It's not been, I recognize that it's not the same for everybody. Everybody doesn't have my own personality that can shake it off. And what I've done is the young people, the younger girls and female employees that I've been in the same organization with, I always try to create an environment that protects them, in the sense that I don't excuse them from as much work. I don't excuse like substandard work from them, but I advocate for them in terms of like giving them more responsibilities, putting them out there, putting them in situations where they can showcase their skills, their talents, where they can be leaders. Because there's a tendency to always bypass them, to always overlook them, to always, it's just, and it's an unconscious bias that the industry is dealing with. You're just not them, yes, to be in the secretarial administrative roles. You are not expecting them to be like core contributors or being leadership within the industry. So even some of those ladies, they themselves are comfortable in the back seats, but I just keep pushing them. No, you cannot continue to be assistant this. Someone leaves the position, apply to that position. Go put yourself forward. People, they shy away from certain opportunities. No, you go there. Don't, and interesting thing in the world today, the world is all just full of DEI and diversity, equality and inclusion. People are looking for women. Sometimes it's tokenism, but take advantage of the tokenism and showcase who you are, for more opportunities. So that's what but generally for me personally, it's not been something that I've found very, very limiting. I dismiss it. Doesn't really do anything to me.
Wow. So like Chef said, you just have to go for it as girls. Yes, you're still on, Ma. So just go for it as girls. Don't feel that, oh, I can't do it. You have to believe in yourself that you can do it. So what advice do you have for girls like us, especially on this occasion of the International Day of the Girl Child, as regards the various hidden opportunities in the tech world that can make us take the leading role? So what advice do you have for girls like us?
So I would say that the internet, and I work a lot around issues of digital technologies, particularly women's rights online. Internet as a space that can either be used for societal good, or used to even like entrench existing inequalities. One of the things I always say to people is the internet can be your best friend or your worst enemy. It can be your worst enemy to the degree that you allow yourself to be distracted. There are people, all they do on the internet is consume content and be depressed. and so-called the fake life or the curated life that is there, and they lose focus, and they really don't have a direction in life, and they really don't know what they're doing. And there's some other people that use the internet to deliberately find opportunities. Comfort was talking about applications where you can train yourself. I just find that a lot of young people are too distracted, too unsettled to settle down and give the time that it takes to really master a skill. And that's so important. This is a skill-based economy. If you are not going to be able to bullshit your way through anything anymore. People are highly skilled, and the labor market has become global. There are skills from one end of the world to the other, and it's no longer restricted. It's now open. So your competition is not Nigeria. Your competition is not Akure. Your competition is not Lagos. Your competition is global now. So it's either you are really that good or not. Right. So, I mean, there's so many opportunities, much more opportunities than when we were growing up. And the days when we had to go to Nitel to go and collect email if somebody wrote you from the US. Now the whole world is just WhatsApp message away. So I would say to the girl child, please be focused. Please be focused. It's not about like just doing shiny things that are going nowhere. Yeah. And there are parts of your journey that will be fun and nice, while I think there are parts of your journey that will be really hard, really tough, and you feel like quitting. So every day you're going to feel like showing up and continuing. But if you're that person that runs away with your tail between your legs as soon as it gets hard, you're not really going to hit your goal. So when you look at role models like Comfort and other people that you look up to, just know that there were hard moments in their life. There were times when they kept going. There were times when it was easier to quit. There was times when they didn't have to. If she was to tell you the story behind all the awards she's winning, I'm sure she'll tell you of sleepless nights, days without food, not because she doesn't have to eat, but because she put hours and hours and hours of work in. She probably forgot to eat. So it's hard work to be successful. It's hard work to inspire other people, and you have to keep that focus no matter what you find around you distracting you, or otherwise. So that's just my piece of advice to anyone who wants to be successful in anything, both in tech and outside tech.
Be focused and work hard as girls if you want to be successful. So are there new tech skills we can learn from that will be of use to us as girls? Like, are there new tech skills in the tech industry that can be useful to us as girls?
When you say new, I don't exactly understand what you mean by new tech skills, because there are no, as
The
far as
one that
I
can,
exactly.
okay, the one that can be of benefit to girls
Yeah,
like
you
us.
can talk trend and talk about skills that are in high demand, but maybe not exactly new tech
Yeah,
skills.
the
And I
trending
don't
skills, the
like
ones like
saying
high
to
demand.
everyone, "Oh, you must learn to code, you must learn to program. Everyone must be a cybersecurity expert. Everyone must, go into data analysis and all these kind of things." I could list skills, but that's not what I like to do. And like I said, there are trends. You know, there are trends in the tech industry that you can follow, and there are hot skills. Yeah, that's true, but maybe not. They're not necessarily new. But what I'll say to you is, I think interest is of very, very.
Wow, it's like a network is there's network we have network issues with Miss Tope. So now we'll be going on a short break, and we're watching a video of one of our girls here at Rhealyz Africa to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. So before we go on the break, like, wow, looking at the session so far from Miss Comfort and Miss Tope, so how has it been? Because I really learned a whole lot from what they said. Like, to be successful, we have to be focused and we have to work hard as
And
girls.
having a laser gaze at your goal, not quitting. Like even when it's easy to quit, not
Don't just
quitting.
don't just say you want to like
Yeah,
just
I won't love when you said it is hard work to be successful.
successful.
It's
You just
not
have to
easy.
work hard for it. You can't just go
Yeah, it's
there
an hard
and just
work.
it's not just a one day thing, it's a process. You have to go through the process work hard, and go for it. Because from what Miss Comfort said, she said we have to work for it. You have to just go for it
Like you
because
have to
your
create this space
for
for
yourself.
yourself.
Because the space might not come. They might not give you the opportunity to go into whatever you want to go for. But just create the space, create the opportunity, work hard, and be focused. So we're going on a break now. Okay. I think Mrs. Tote is back.
Yeah, I had a glitch. I'm not sure what it was, but yeah. So I see you're rounding up the session, and that's fine. I wasn't going to interrupt that, except you have any like final questions that you want to ask me, or you want me to land the thoughts.
So what are your final words to girls out there? Like apart from being in the tech industry, like generally as a girl child, what are your final words to them out there to like be focused and go for it?
I think my final words would be that you're as limited your as your mind. There's no the limitation is first of all in your mind. If the limitation is not in your mind, you'll be able to overcome any barriers that are on the outside. If there's no discouragement inside, discouragement from outside will not be able to penetrate you. If there is no limitation inside, limitations from outside will not be able to stop you. So take care of your inside. Yeah. Be self-aware, understand your own inclinations, work on your mind, and then, if you from your mind, from the inside out, you can conquer the world. Once you've conquered yourself, you've conquered your own lack of faith in yourself, you've conquered your own laziness, you've conquered your own whatever it is. That's what I mean by being self-aware. There are limitations on the inside of each of us. There are lies that we tell ourselves. There are limits that we put on ourselves. Once you're able to
Yes.
conquer yourself on the inside and rise above all those things that are, fighting against your dreams in your head, then you can conquer from the inside to the outside. So the world is your stage. Go take it.
Yes. Thank you so much, Ma, for this wonderful section. And to girls out there, you have to believe in yourself. You have to be focused. Go for it. You have to conquer the limitations within to be able to conquer the limitations outside. Because if you're not able to conquer the one within, surely the limitations outside will bring you down. And you're able to go and achieve your dream. So we're going on a short break now, and we'll be watching a video from our guests here at Rhealyz Africa to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. And while we're back from the break, we'll have my co-host Adediwura to handle the next session with with Mrs. Esther Kemi Gbadamosi.
Good afternoon, wonderful people. My name is Vesta Adriel Ogene, and with me here, my amiable co-host.
Omoboni Kenle Onolapo, and this is Rhealyz Africa School Impact to mark the International Day of the Girl Child.
Reporting live from Freshaye Girls Grammar School, Akure, the capital city of Ondo State, Nigeria.
Gathering people's opinion on the challenges the girl child faces on a daily basis and its possible solutions.
Because
Our time is now, our rights, our future. Let's go.
Good afternoon, what's your name?
Ajayi Success.
So, Success, among all the challenges that girls face in Africa, which of them is of the greatest to you?
To me, the greatest of the challenge girls face in Africa is menstruation. Most girls, especially in the rural area, do not know how to dispose their menstruation pad properly. And the second one is that girls in rural area do not use sanitary pad. They rather use clothes, and this is unhygienic.
Okay, Success, if you ever had the opportunity to become the president for one day, what will you do to address the challenge you had mentioned earlier?
If I become the president, I'm going to fund the Ministry of Women Affairs to go to the rural area to distribute sanitary pad and also to educate them on how to dispose their sanitary pad properly.
Okay, thanks, and it was nice meeting you.
Okay, we've heard it from Freshaye girls as they've told us about the challenges and the possible solutions to the possible solutions to the challenges girl child face in the world today. And I'm going to ask you, Wejiro, at least let's ask ourselves before we leave. As a girl child, how have you been able to grow up in a society where girls are seen as objects of attraction and they are not allowed to take leading roles?
As for me, Omobonike, growing up in this society nowadays is so difficult because sometimes you just pass a street, they'll be staring at you because you're a girl, maybe because you wear a skirt, and in a mixed school, if yes, in primary school I attended a mixed school, so it will not be like when you want to choose a role, like maybe a captain, prefect, senior girl, they'll not be like, what? If they want to nominate, I remember those times when my teacher would just call upon us and say, if you want to vote for class captain, that you should raise up their hands. The most the average that will come out, maybe when we are 50, when we were 20 in a class, so 15 will raise up their hands for boys, while let me say 5 raise up their hands for girls. So it has been very difficult.
Okay, Hejiro told us that it has been very difficult when she was in her primary school. And also, how have you been able to manage these challenges?
So I've also been able to manage it going out. Like when I go out, they'll look at me, they'll be like, this guy does not any other girl that they think they can mess with. Like I've got this confidence building up in me that if I go out, I'll be like, be natural. You just got to, if you are being sent to say a speech, you some girls, they'll be like, if they want to say a speech, they'll be nervous, they'll be shaky, like one leave. But as for me, I've already got this confidence inside me that if I want to say a speech, I'll just say it and just improve myself. No need, because I've got one saying that everybody fat. So yeah. Okay, so Omobonike, if what would you like to do if you ever found yourself in a situation where you are being forced to marry an old man?
Marry an old man. I will run away from that house. I will run away, go to one of the worship centers, stay there for a night, and I plan my life. I'll go to relatives who know the worth and value of a girl child and can help stop this child marriage stuff. How you come home and say, I will marry a man? Tomorrow. No, 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 no. It's not really nice. And I also run to NGOs like Rhealyz Africa. They will help me. As in, they will talk to my parents, enlighten them the more, enlighten people in our society. That's why I like Rhealyz Africa. They are trying their best to make this world favorable for the girl child, and not only the girl child alone, for everybody. And I'll just run to Girls Camp, Rhealyz Africa. I will run to them that they should please come to my car. Okay, it was an amazing time hearing from Fashaye Girls Grammar School as they told us the possible solutions to the challenges girl child face on a daily basis. Ijiro, how has it been with you?
It was very interesting hearing from sources that if she had ever had the chance to become a president for one day, that she was going to fund menstrual pad for girls in the rural community.
And to every girl child out there, the sky is your starting point. Don't let anybody devalue you. Know that the sky is not your limit at all.
Girls, be strong and be proud of yourself. You can be more and we will be more. Happy International Girl Child.
Welcome back after that break. Welcome back after that break. It is still a special edition of celebrating the International Day of the Girl Child with Rhealyz Africa. And here we are empowering girls to lead and educating them on their rights, their future. And we have had Miss Comfort and Mrs. Tope educate us on how we can be more and we will be more. So now I would love to thank our audience for being here with us since we started. Let's do this all through. Let's roll together. So, and Mrs. Oge Zulu, thank you so much for that comment. Thank you so much. Bravo to us. And we'll continue to do this. Gabriel Chibuzo, thank you a lot. This is so nice. I know it is nice. And we are going to do this. Of course, Kemi. Thank you, Mama. We're so proud of you. Abenasa, but well done, Feranmi. I see you. Yes, we are here. Joy Azaya, well done, girls. Thank you, Lord. Well done. Peace, Azaya. I see you, Miss Comfort Arthur. Miss Comfort Arthur, you have a fan here. We'll continue to do this. Go Girls by Peace Azaya. So now this is still the special edition of celebrating the International Day of the Girl Child with Rhealyz Africa. It's our Know It Loudly series, and we have Mrs. Esther Kemi Gbadamosi here with us. Mrs. Esther Kemi Gbadamosi, she is the CEO and media consultant of Radioxity Media. She's also a writer, cinematographer, editor, and animator. She has been all this for over 15 years. Furthermore, as an independent filmmaker, her film has received several international awards, including the Independent Short Awards Los Angeles for the Best Female Director, the Best Documentary at the Lake International Pan-Africa Film Festival, Kenya, amongst many others. Ms. Esther Gbadamosi, you're welcome to today's show. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
so,
I'm really excited to be here.
and I'm also excited to see your face. So, ma'am, there's this question, mama, like, what were the main challenges or stereotypes common to the African child that you shattered while growing up? Ma, what were the main
Okay.
challenges?
Well, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
ma'am.
hear me?
Yes, ma, I can.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma,
Okay.
I can
Okay.
hear you, ma'am.
Critical. Okay. The critical challenge was the fact that they parents and neighbors and people around, our environment when we were young, just did not feel that girls, could achieve the same things that guys could, and that was what was the major challenge. So when, as a girl, you did something that was extra, or more, or something that probably required more energy, there was always like, no, don't do that. Don't you know that you're a girl?
Are we,
Girls are not supposed to do the high flying thing.
so they think you are an
Not
egg.
expected to take risk.
Okay, so
Sorry.
they were not expecting you to take risk or do things that high flying student does. Okay, ma. So
Yeah.
looking at parental influence and film
No.
industry career, were there resistance from your parents when they discovered that you were not following the path of agriculture that you studied? And how were you able to bridge this gap? Like studying agriculture and now you went into film industry. How were you able to convince your parents and bridge the gap between those different industries?
Okay. Like Comfort said, and Mrs. Tope, it's all about people recognizing what you want to do and your passion for it. I did agric engineering, and it was funny enough. I discovered a lot about media from that. In trying to solve a particular problem, I got into my department and discovered that people didn't know of the projects that we were making, in the department. And I felt that, oh, we need to be able to showcase the things, many of these projects that seemed
And
to
make it
be
make
sort
it
of like
yeah.
disintegrating away. And I felt, oh, okay, we can make documentaries, we could make videos, capture these things, and don't let them just become part of a fading memory. And so I said, oh, okay, I needed to develop a concept, of packaging and presenting many of these projects. And that was how, from agric engineering, I went to do my IT in NTA. Obviously, it met quite a bit of resistance, even in my university. But then, people just accepted, when I came for my defense and I defended it, it was a clapping ovation. That was standing ovation, sorry. Because they weren't expecting that, I would find a way to express the engineering side of what I did, through the media side of things. And so it's essentially what exactly you're passionate about. People, once you hold on to it strong enough, people will respect it. Naturally, they will respect it. At first, they may not accept it because it's not stereotype. But then, it's just a matter of time. Once you can prove that you're good at what you do, people will appreciate it. So that's what happened.
Okay, so you continue to hold on tight to your passion, and that was it for Mrs. Esther Gbadamosi.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, that was what we have been talking about since morning. Like you have to hold on to what you have. Like you have to hold on tight to that passion that you have. And for for Esther, it was what she had: architectural engineering, and she knew that she had to go into the film industry and that showcase what was going on in the engineering world. Like she had to find a way to bridge the gap between showcasing her talent and the engineering world, and she went all out for it. Like kudos to you, ma, for that. So, can you use this medium to
Thank
briefly
you.
educate us about stop motion animation? Ma, can you briefly educate us about stop
Okay.
motion
Well,
animation?
yeah. Now, stop motion animation is a part of animation. It's a particular medium. You can express animation. Now, first and foremost, for me to talk about stop motion animation, you need to know that animation is movement per time. That means when you move something, within a particular period of time, that's animation. Now, stop motion, is when you do it physically. 2D is when you draw it. That's like two-dimensional. 3D is when you model it. That's in the third dimension, digitally. That means you do it on the PC. You model your assets, your characters, your props, your sets, all digitally. That's in a 3D software and all that. Now, for stop motion, everything is done physically. That means like physically, like you see I could show you something now, so you have something like this, and it's physical.
Okay.
You can see it
Okay, I'm
physically.
seeing
It's
it.
yes, is a man in suits, and when I move him, in movement per time, so I get to move him. That's what you really do in 3D animation or 2D. You move
You
things.
moving things back
Like
and
2D,
forth.
you keep drawing new drawings. So, for example, let me show you something. I hold him like this, and then if I want to raise his hands up, like this, I just get to raise it. So over time,
Okay.
his hands are raised. So in stop motion, you move
Wow.
it bit by bit, bit like bit,
Okay.
bit like
Within
that.
seconds, you keep
Over
moving
time.
them.
So,
Okay.
yeah. So you have your yeah. So that's stop motion essentially. You have your characters. Film. Animation medium, film medium, because I've also been a filmmaker for about 20 years as well, and one thing I know is that, in the film medium, there are three major things you need to have. You need to have your characters, you need to have your props, and you need to have your sets. Those are the ones that encapsulate your story. So for stop motion, same thing. You have, for example, I use puppets. These puppets are made of silicone, and then I have sets, like something that's behind me, if you can see it, that's a set, and then you
That's
have
it.
props, like objects, that they come, yeah, so that's essentially
Okay.
what it
Thanks
is.
so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. Like, I don't know the fact that you bought an object now to demonstrate it to us, and I'm sure we all now know what stop motion animation is. So, my kind of difference between stop motion animation and regular animation that we see on our screen every single day.
Okay. Well, you see stop motion. If you watch Jim Jam, Jim Jam is majorly stop motion. They have a couple of them on Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, and all. So stop motion it's just it's when you use physical objects, like I said. Unlike 3D and 2D that are mostly done in the digital space. Traditional animation is the one you take a pencil and you draw. 2D, it's
Okay.
that same drawing but done digitally. 3D, you have 3D models. I did 3D for about 8 years. So I did it,
Thank
a
you.
lot. But it was when I got married and I had children, and it was a little bit difficult, combining, when you have small children and all, and then with 3D. So that period was kind of like quiet for me, taking care of the small children, and as they grew. And so it was not until they were probably like 3 years old, 4 years old, that I really could get back into animation. And by the time I was coming back, most of the children generally tend to be attracted to toys. And so I
Yeah.
started out by, because I enjoyed the animation process. Yeah, I started out by moving toys, up and down. So
Okay,
if you
that's good.
watched my earlier films, they were kind of like toys, yes, moving them, and using toys to tell stories. Now that's essentially what children do. They use toys to tell stories. But they do it like, they hold your hand and stuff like that. Now, in this particular one, your hand does not show. Your hand does not show, it's just the object. So
The
I used
movement
it
of
at
the
first,
object.
and then with time, because now the truth is that as you commit yourself to whatever you're doing, you will naturally get better. And so that's what happened. So over since 20, probably 17, 18, 19, like that. I've made sequences and films. By 2019, I made the first one. I made another one 2020, another one 2021, and then 2022, I've made a couple
Consistent.
already this year. And so it just keep, yeah, you just keep working it, and then you keep improving. And so it's not for the lack of, maybe I had a problem with 3D. It's just because, obviously there were one or two challenges that, but then it's all animation. I love 3D, I love stop motion. And at the moment, I just enjoy telling stories, and so that's
Okay,
what stop
ma.
motion is doing for me right now.
Okay, thank you so much, man. Like we have heard, practice make perfect. So keep practicing whatever you are doing. Keep doing it all over and over again. So now we want to show one of our videos at Radio City Media, and after that, she give us our final words. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, ma.
Omo, I dey hate you. Hunger no go keep person like this. God, this life, sha. Nothing. No money. Not even 50 naira. Which kind country be this now? With all the book where we pack, put for head, no hope for Naija. God. Where do I start from? Things just keep going from bad to worse. God help me now. Help your boy now. I dey try now. Because this also no be pure water. Oh.
Mrs. Esther created an animation. Okay, ma, the video is back now. Common issues. Okay, I'm so sure we could relate with those videos like about the hustle, about Ishe Agbe, Ishe Ilewa. So ma, we started with filmmaking
Yes. So
and later you went into stop motion animation. Like what propelled this transition? Like and what lessons can aspiring female stop motion animators learn from you, ma?
okay. Stop first and foremost. Stop motion animation is filmmaking. It's
Okay.
still so I've
It's in
always
the
done
filmmaking
filmmaking.
industry.
Yeah, filmmaking is still basically, yeah. And it's about telling stories. If you have a story to tell, you can tell it with the film, and people will watch it and hear your story, or at least see your perspective to the story. So yeah, stop motion is basically something I've always been passionate about. Animation, actually, and I wouldn't say I started from live action filmmaking. I actually did start from, sort of like visual effects, animation, and all that. I did animation for 8 years before I even started live action. Yeah, live action filmmaking, and then stop motion. I still make films. I make live action films. When I see a story, I see someone interesting. I want to do a documentary about the person. It's really essentially about telling stories, being able to express yourself, and using the visual, that's the audiovisual medium, to express it. That kind of thing. And so, for me, filmmaking is more like, kind of a life work, something that you need to do to be able to find some level of fulfillment, and whatever medium works for you. And whichever one, whether it's a documentary that tells your story best, a live action feature film, or a stop motion animation film that's short, it's just what connects with you at that particular point in time.
Okay, yes, ma. So we still know that filmmaking and animation is still the same thing. We are both just telling story using different mediums, right? So, ma, what finally like is
Yeah.
stop motion animation or filmmaking industry? Is it a field ladies can go into due to the regions involved in it?
Yeah, of course. Like when I was growing up, one of the things, the stereotypes that I did reject was the fact that there were things that guys could do and there were things that ladies could do.
Ladies
As far as I am concerned, you can do whatever you believe you can. If you believe you can't, then you can't. If you believe you can, irrespective of your sex, funny enough, your age, irrespective of where you were born or whatever it is, when you believe that you can do something, that you can. So there's nothing about you being female or male. It's about what you believe and what you accept. People will say many things. They would say, I've heard it.
can think it, then you can do it right.
Mrs. Stockwell talked about,
That
yes,
you can do
the
all.
stereotype is heavy. I grew up in the West, in Yoruba land, and you know how it is. Obrinie, you don't do this. You don't do that. Right from Joko Dada, Obrini that, there's so many of them, they just, really hit you hard on it. But then it's really up to you. It's your life, it's your destiny, And so what you accept is what happens to you. If you don't accept it, it can't force itself on you. And so when they say that stop motion animation, for example, is not something for ladies, then you go ahead and prove them wrong, because you have hands, you have eyes, you have a creative mind. When you look at the puppets, ideas come to your mind, then we are talking, we're in business.
Great.
So
It's also for the girls.
it has nothing to do, you don't need anything that has to do with the female or male. No, I think it's something that girls or ladies or women, should not have at the back or front of their minds, that I'm female, I shouldn't do. No, I think it's just being able to dream it and do it. With God's help, there's really nothing you can't do. It's just so important that I think the key thing where people really do have challenges, and I want to say that if the young ladies listening have anything to take away from this, whatever it is that you believe that you should do, please stick with it. Stick with it. Hold on tight to it. If it is selling granuts, and I need to say it
Yeah.
that way because it's not really about what it is. It's not
Yeah.
whether you're doing one very high tech, or if it's selling granules and you focus, like laser focus on it. You will succeed
Laser
whatever you're
focus on it.
committed to. Yeah, it's because it's when I wake up in the morning, I tell myself, you stay committed. This is what you're doing. You make it. You become the best at it. And then you make a difference with it. And it doesn't matter what is happening out there. It's what's happening inside you. So for me, I think that focus thing, because everybody, sometimes you see people, they're doing this, then they're doing that, then they're doing this, then they're doing that, all the fine things. Leave the fine things, do what it is that your hand has found to do,
What you can
and
do.
that you're good at, of course. And you see, it's just a matter of time.
And thanks so much, Ma. Like we have learned that do whatever you want to do. Do it with passion. Do it with creative. Like go all out for it. Don't mind the noises. Don't mind the stereotypes. Just do what you want to do and that you are committed at doing. So now, thanks so much, Ma, for honoring us well. We called you, Ma. We so much appreciate this time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ma. And now we'll be having our straight impact with serious girls grammar school. Like imagine serious girls grammar school in their own school. They went to interview other girls like them. And that is what we do at Realize Africa. Like we train girls to be media advocates. So we say, so as we go on this short break, after this we'll be having Faith Lweendo. Thank you so much, Ma, for honoring us. Thank you once again. Bye. Okay, so let me read the comment before we go on that break. By Abane Asabe, you can do whatever you believe you can, irrespective of your gender, race, or background. And that's really what it is like. You can do whatever you want to do, irrespective of your gender, your background, your race. Like, really, you can do this. And thanks so much, Ma Abane Asabe. We are really well done. So now let's go on that break. Okay, so make sure you send your favorite emojis. Send your favorite emojis to us. Make sure you are sending your comments, your reactions. So Feranmi, like, how was that section?
Wow, it was really wonderful section with Mrs. Kemi because I really learned a whole lot. She said we have to be focused. Be focused on what is inside. And don't focus on what is outside. If you focus on what is inside, you'll be able to like go for what you want to go for. Don't focus on what is inside of you. And also in achieving your dreams, passion is needed.
That's true.
Yes, you have to believe. And another thing is you have to believe in yourself. When you believe in yourself, you have that passion. No matter the challenges, no matter the obstacles you face, you just see them as small thing, as
Noises,
a stepping stone,
I
that
don't
just
like
and
noises.
you ignore them because you feel that they are nothing, because you just have that dream, that passion, and believe in yourself that you can do it. So it was a wonderful session with Miss Kemi.
Thank you so much, Ma, once again for that purpose. Like, I really enjoyed myself, even from the beginning, coming from comfort, after that we can do all things. Then watching a movie and on Anufeli's the serial killer. Like, really, that was so creative, and telling us that you can get your creative ideas from just being people conversation,
From
and
what you
then
see.
from what you see. And coming again to Mrs. Esther, like. And it was just mainly on what we can relate it on also on Isha, like all those things are things that we can really relate to. So that was so great of them. Like, and I say well done. And then again to Mrs. Tope.
Yes, going into the technological world, because you're looking at it like a girl going into the technological world, like it's something that most parents don't want to hear of, that what are you going to do there? You have medicine because maybe based on our nature, they feel that okay, mostly it is medicine,
Nursing, they are
because
caring, they are
you're
patient.
passionate, you're patient, all those kind of stuff. So when you tell your parents you want to go into technology, you're like, what else you go and do there and everything. And from Mrs. Tope too, she said reading. It's all about reading. You have to be exposed to all this.
Make the internet your best friend.
Make it your best friend. Make books your best friend and not the internet, because there are a lot of benefits in going into the media space, into the internet, but you have to also focus on books. You have to read books, read a lot, read and be exposed to, like she said, she loves traveling. I love traveling. Like I have the same experience.
And there's even a saying that readers are leaders.
Yes,
Readers are leaders.
So it's all about reading, practicing, and also when going into being a girl, going into whatever you want to go to, your choosing choice of career, you have to be focused. That's one thing, because
Yes,
there'll
I'm
be distractions. They'll be like, let me go into, maybe along the way, maybe there's a little challenge. You're like, maybe this is not for me. Let me go this way again. Then going into that particular thing, and you're like, there's a little challenge again. Like, no, this is not for me. Let me go into something else. So it's all about being focused, being determined and disciplined about whatever you put your mind to do, about whatever you set your mind to do. Like, it's all about just be disciplined.
And Mr. Bible said, success is hard work.
Yes.
So if you want to be successful,
you have to work.
You have to work
it's
hard.
not for lazy people. Being successful is not just for lazy people.
In
You have
whichever
to work hard.
So now we are going on a break and we'll be seeing ex-LA girls in their school.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to a special edition of Rhealyz Africa School Impacts. We are live at St. Girls Grammar School, Akure, the capital city of Ondo State, Nigeria. My name is Afolabi Emiola, and I'm a student of this school. With me here is my host, Akeju Promise, who is also a student, by the way. So, Promise, how are you doing today?
Fine, thank you, Emiola.
I'm also very fine.
Okay, as we all know, today is all about girls because we are celebrating the International Day of the Girl Child. So we'll be asking some students some questions. Questions like, would you love to come back as a girl if you come back to life? So let's go. So good afternoon. Can I meet you?
Good afternoon. My name is Oge.
Among all the problems girls are facing in Africa, which of them is the greatest to you?
Yes, I would just say child abuse.
Child abuse, why?
Why? The reason why most girls in Africa are always abused due to poverty. Most children are always sold out due to money for their parents.
If you become a president for one day, what would you like to change in Nigeria?
As a president for one day, firstly, I'll make sure all those offenders are arrested and the girl involved should be given immediate treatment.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So, good afternoon. Please, can I meet you?
Yes, my name is Akimi Misola Titilayo.
Okay, so Titilayo, if your parents only come home and they say, Titilayo, you know the situation of our country. So you are going to marry this old man of like 80 years old. So what would you do?
That's a very funny question. But as for me, is it possible? How you marry an old man? Well, if I'm to be in that situation, I will sit my parents down and tell them on the dangers and consequences and the mess they're going to be putting me into. And if they don't listen or adhere to my advice, I'll call to the nearest human rights organization like the Rhealyz Africa, the NGO, to come and help me out.
Yes, you're taking them there. Okay, so how do you think we can end child marriage? How do you think we can end?
First, by educating the parents, most especially the literate parents, on the dangers and the mess they're going to be putting their children into.
Okay, so thank you so much for your time. Okay, good afternoon. Please, what is your name?
Welcome back from the break. That was a wonderful section with Mrs. Kemi Gbadamosi, and thank you to Adediwura for that wonderful section. It was very interesting and it was good to hear from Mrs. Kemi. From what you said, I grabbed something. It's that you can do whatever you set your mind to as girls. It's just that you have to believe in yourself that you can do it. Because if you have a dream without self-confidence in yourself, it can't be
nothing
achieved
like
at all. But if you believe in yourself, if you have that dream and you believe in yourself that you can do it, even no matter the challenges, no matter the obstacles that might come your way, you just see them as stepping stone to like going further. You just see them as nothing because that belief is already there in you. So to our last guest on the show from Zambia,
Okay,
we
so
have
Miss Soma, would you love to come back to the world as a girl? Yes, sure.
Yeah. So our last guest on the show is from Zambia. We have Faith Lweendo from Zambia. She's 22 years. She has been a youth reporter for 7 years. Faith is a child, women, and girls' rights advocate and also a climate change advocate. She has continued to speak out on issues that affect our community through various platforms, and she is a founder of youth group that empower and support women, girls, and children. Our community has not been the same as she tries to be the change everywhere she goes. Like, be the change you want to see in others, be the change you want to see in your community, and the change begins with you. So, welcome, Faith, on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's nice having you on the show with us today.
Thank you so much. Nice to be here.
So, as a girl child, how has growing up been for you in a world where girls are seen as objects of attraction and silent from taking up leadership roles? So, how has growing up been for you in a world where girls are saying that, oh, you can't take up this leadership role, you can't do this, you can't do that? Maybe yours to just remain in the kitchen and stuff like that. So, how has growing up been for you as a girl child?
For me, growing up in a world where girls are seen as objects of pleasure, it has been very painful because for a girl to actually get to a certain level where boys will reach, it has to take a lot of courage. Most girls are discouraged. I find myself having to be a bit extra to actually pull through compared to a boy. Because for me, I have to go an extra mile to get to where a boy is. A boy will get there effortlessly with just with certain steps. But as a girl, because you have all those obstacles in your way, you have to go a little bit extra. So if you're not extra, you find yourself not getting there because you have to have courage. You have to have extra confidence to actually compete with the boys. Yes. And so it's really been painful for me, if I can describe it, because it's not easy for a girl to just get there. So the extra effort that comes with it is a challenge, and it's really been hard for most girls to pull through because it's easy to give up with the obstacles that come with that.
So how have you been able to overcome these challenges you've mentioned just now? Like, how have you been able to overcome it and prove that, like, because going the extra mile, have you been able to like overcome all these challenges you went through as growing up as a girl child?
Okay, so for me, like I mentioned earlier, the extra effort is what has gotten me there. The extra effort is what will get a girl child there. And for me, I see it as a fight that needs to go on so we can make it easier for those behind us. If I can fight for the other girls, I believe it would be easier for them to not fight what I'm fighting right now. So for me, what has really worked for me is just the extra effort that I'm just from talking about. You will need to stand to get there right now. You will need to stand and fight to pave way for yourself and for others behind you. And so what has really gotten me there is just being a little bit extra, even though going an extra mile where I know I have sometimes I really have to motivate myself, make sure that whatever obstacles are in my way are not seen as obstacles. I have to fight those obstacles to just get there. So for me, it's just been self-motivation, perseverance, and just also the motivation to really see other girls get there. Because for me, when I look at the situation in the world at the moment, I want to see another girl have it easy behind me. I want to see my young sister not fight the fights I'm fighting. And so for me, that's a big motivation, and that's what has kept me going.
Yeah. So just go the extra mile, go for it because you can do it. So those who are coming behind, other girls who are coming behind will find it easy and they won't have to fight the same fight that you had to go to. So as a youth reporter, how have you been able to manage these challenges, and what lessons can other girls learn from your media advocacy journey? So like I wanted to start with like, how was your media advocacy journey? How did you start how did you start your journey into the media world, and how has it been as a youth reporter?
Okay, so how I started my media journey is I've always been passionate about change. And so at some point, I was really looking for something I could do to just be the change that I wanted to see. So I would look around and I would see people littering. I would look around and I would see people just doing the wrong things all the time. And I wanted to just be the one to do something about what was going on. And so it started with my friends. I could tell friends to not maybe throw pieces of paper around. I would try that, but I still felt I needed to do more. And so I joined Agents of Change. That also gave me a platform to advocate for change on different topics: climate change, sexual reproductive health and rights, just different issues. And for me, that was a huge privilege because I knew through that platform I could reach out to even more people in my community and in my country. And so that's how I started my media journey. It started from there, and from there my passion grew, and I studied something in the media, and it kept on growing. And so yeah, that's how it started.
Oh, that's nice. So, were there challenges while doing and while in your media advocacy journey? Were there challenges you like encountered? And if there were challenges, how were you able to overcome these challenges?
Okay, so the challenges I faced usually I face in advocacy is that sometimes, media is open, but you're not always able to reach out to everyone at the same time. Of course you can, but sometimes there are barriers in language. There are also barriers in how these people will be reached out to. And so sometimes we could have an online session right now, but we're not able to reach out to every person. Every person. And so how I was able to overcome those challenges is that in my free time, I would organize campaigns to just go in the communities. I would post on my Facebook to just invite friends over to come with me, so we could just do something else aside media, to just reach out to people who are not able to connect with us through media and radio and TV. And so we would have extra campaigns in the communities where we would go round communities and talk to people in the communities about different topics and issues. And so when I began to do that, I found that it was actually worth it, because as much as we were bringing out information through media, other people were left out. Other people were not able to get our messages. And so after we began to go out in the communities, that was when we saw the need to actually do both media and reaching out in person.
Well, reaching out is just the key. Reaching out to people to like tell them, because if you just limiting it to the media space, you're able to reach enough people. But going out to communities to reach out to them, to tell them about these changes will like work well. So among all the challenges that girls face in Africa, which of them is of greatest importance to you? And can you briefly tell us about the challenge? Like among all the challenges that girls face in Nigeria, in Africa as a whole, which of them is of like greatest importance to you? And can you tell us about the challenge?
Okay, so for me, the greatest challenge amongst all the challenges that girls face that really gets to me is child marriage. Child marriage is that's a big problem that really gets to me. And coming from a country where, in my country, Zambia is amongst the countries with the highest rates of child marriage. And so looking at it, it's really something that has affected me as a girl and other girls out there. I have been out in the field on advocacy campaigns and programs. And when you get on the ground, that's when you get to see that the situation is really bad. And this situation of child marriage actually affects girls so much that most of them are not even able to complete their school. Most of them end up just living in poverty all their lives. And what hurts me the most about this issue is that it becomes a circle. You find a girl is married off at 15. And when they are married off at 15, the chances of them producing a family that is in poverty and also having a child or a girl child, giving birth to a girl child that will also do the same are high, because the child will end up doing what the mother did because there's no motivation for them. It's a circle. And
Just a
so
circle around.
we will be in the same place, we'll be moving around circles instead of clearing the problem. And so for me, child marriage is like the greatest problem that I have seen affects me the most. Yeah. And also connected to child marriage is teenage pregnancy, because these two are interlinked. You find when a girl is married off, usually they become teenage mothers. And sometimes teenage pregnancy is the reason that these girls are married off mostly, in Zambia. And so that's like the biggest challenge that I have seen that really gets to me, because it hinders progress in equality, it hinders progress in development, it also hinders girls from developing and being the voice that we want them to be.
So if you're to become the one day president for Zambia, what will you do to address the challenge you just mentioned earlier?
Okay, firstly, if I was to become president, I think the first thing I would do is stiffen the punishments for these people that marry these girls. Because the problem here, so the problem usually is with the adults. So you find that a 40-year-old man is going for a 15-year-old girl, and usually it's because of poverty. The parents are willing to marry off their girl because the old man will maybe bring in dowry and come and pay for the girl, and so it becomes an exchange. It's like they're trading these girls. And so yes. And so if I became president, the first thing I would want to do is stiffen the punishment for people that will go and marry a child, because an old man will go and want to marry a child. But if they know that there are stiff punishments regulating that, and they know that if I went and married a small girl, I will be arrested, I will be jailed, then I think that would reduce the numbers that we have. And also I would also want to make sure that whatever policies that supported girl child are implemented and made stronger.
Yes, they have to be like effective laws that are effective to like kick against this child marriage and all that. So wow, that's all you're doing in one day. That's nice to hear from you. So we're going on a short break now, and we'll be having a video done by Faith to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child.
Girls have the right to education and freedom from child marriage.
She has the right to be free from violence and the right to be heard.
She has a right to make decisions about instant marriage.
On this International Day of the Girl Child,
we celebrate her rights and her freedom, and we stand together to defend them. I rep Rhealyz Africa.
I, Havana Asabe, rep Rhealyz Africa.
I, Lweendo Choongo from Zambia, I rep Rhealyz Africa. Happy International Day of the Girl Child.
Happy International Day of the Girl Child.
Happy International Day of the Girl Child.
With Faith too from the video. Welcome back from that break, which was done by our girls around Africa to celebrate the International Day of the Girl Child. So now looking at it, we are all in Africa, Nigeria, Zambia. So what can we do together as girls? What projects can we engage in together? Looking at you from Zambia, we from Nigeria. So what projects can we engage in together to just like continue this change, to continue putting on this change and everything?
Okay. So for me, I think to bring to address issues that affect girls, I think it would be a very good idea to have sensitizing projects where we go in the communities. You in Nigeria, me in Zambia, uh, identify communities that have the highest rate of these issues that affect girls. Yes, and then come together and come up with programs that can help support these girls and also reach out to their parents on the dangers of letting their children loose like that.
Like sensitization programs, like create awareness about these evil practices and why it has to stop. Yes.
Yes, because I believe knowledge is power. I
Yes.
believe if someone is empowered with knowledge, that knowledge would help them through anything. If someone taught me how to do something and gave me information about something, it will make me understand what I'm supposed to do in a certain situation and how I'm supposed to go about it. So I believe if I had a house and I didn't know this was my house, I wouldn't have the power to claim it. I wouldn't say, give me back my house, because I believe it's not mine. But
Yeah.
if we empower girls with the voice and with the knowledge about their rights, they would know what to stand for and say no to, and also what to agree to. Because if you give someone knowledge about what their right is and what that they have the right to say no to something, you empower them with the power to actually say no. But most of these girls actually fall into prey because they do not know their rights. They do not know that they belong, that people can fight for them. So most of them believe, if this is my fight, if my parents say no, I go ahead. Most of them believe, if my parents are saying this, I go with that because there's no one to help me. When in actual sense, there's help out there. There's so many agencies, there's so many organizations willing to support a girl. But the problem is that the girls don't know. So if we can have uh, programs and projects that can support these girls with and empower them with the necessary knowledge to help them fight back for their rights, and also bring out their voices, I believe we would move a step further.
Wow, thank you so much, Faith, for that. And it's nice having you on the show with us today. Thank you so much for your time and everything. But
Thank
before
you
I
for having
release
me.
you, the issue of female genital mutilation and child marriage is a major problem girls are facing in Africa. How is the prevalence in Zambia, and are there measures put in place either by the government or NGOs to address these evil practices?
Okay. So in Zambia, for genital mutilation, it's a bit of a challenge. It's a very complicated issue for us because currently it's reportedly not practiced. Reportedly mean, so it's the report, it's not there, but yes. So, but if I look at the definition of genital mutilation, I believe there are practices that I personally believe are also genital mutilation. So currently, there's no systematic data that has been collected uh, in terms of genital mutilation. So it's really hard to really put numbers together and really trace what is being done and what. So currently, I can say we're not really in a very good position. But in Zambia, there are
Child
actually
marriage.
some practices. Yes, there are practices that actually, if I look at the definition of genital mutilation and those practices, it's the same. Of course, in Zambia, we don't have the one where they cut anything, but I do know that there are cultures in Zambia where the labia is elongated, so it's stretched and they pull, and the reasons they do that are just to maybe to satisfy the man, and also not to bring down the sexual desires of a girl, and so, and also to reduce the sensitivity of the uh, clitoris. So if I look at those practices in Zambia and I look at the definition of genital mutilation, I believe that's a very huge practice that should be discouraged. But currently, I believe, I'm not sure about what's really being done, because systematically there's no data that has been collected that I can point out. And also, it's reportedly not practiced in Zambia. But when you look at what's really going on at the moment, I believe it's something that maybe that should be looked at and also addressed, as I believe it's really something that should be discouraged.
Okay, yeah. So looking at child marriage, are there measures that are put in place either by the government or NGOs to put a stop to child marriage? Are there measures that have been put in place to put a stop to that?
Yes, so when it comes to child marriage, there are measures that have been put in place. So in Zambia currently, we do have a child code bill, or a child code act that was just passed. That it was a bill, but now it was enacted as an act. So it's actually in our constitution now that a child is protected. And so when it comes to child marriage, every girl that is under the age of 21, according to the child code bill, a child code act, is protected. And so that's a good start, because any person that violates the rights of a child, including marrying them off at a young age, is also committing a crime, and that crime is punishable. So I think that's a great start for us, and it's also progress if I look at the fight. And so I think we're moving forward and we're making progress, and that's like the biggest thing for us and also other organizations, I believe, because that's also like the biggest thing that will help us move forward. It's just been a few months since it was enacted, and so we believe there's going to be change, because now there's more protection for a child, and it's of great importance to us and the government. And so I believe as advocates and as other organizations, it's something we'll run with and it's something we're proud of. And so that's where we are currently. And also, I believe there's so many other projects going on to try and fight child marriage. And with the child code bill enacted, I believe it will help us move forward and reduce the numbers of child marriage in Zambia.
So what are some of other practices that go on in Zambia apart from female genital mutilation and child marriage? What are the other practices that are being done in Zambia?
Okay, so other practices that are being done that really disadvantage a girl child abuse. So we believe that most girls are abused. There's the girls that are being abused either sexually or just physically, and so that's also a great challenge in the country at the moment. But I believe with the act again that also will cover that, I believe there's going to be stiffer punishments for girls, for people that break the law when it comes to a girl child. And also we have other challenges like children who are also girls dropping out of school, out of poverty. But now with free education in Zambia now, I believe that problem has been sorted out.
Before you release you, like, what are your final words to other young girls like you out there? Like, looking at you now as a young reporter, so what are your final words to other girls out there?
Okay, so my final words to other girls is that I believe in one thing. If one girl is touched or one girl is maybe affected by something, it affects me as well. So I believe if we're going to win the fight against all these vices that affect girls, I believe we have to be ready to fight another girl's fight. So if I believe my friend who's female or who's a girl is going through something, I should be able to feel it and do something about it, like it's my own problem. And if we begin to do that, then we'll be moving forward. And so my advice to every girl out there is that be a sister's keeper. Be the one to look out for your friends. If you believe someone near you is being abused, someone near you is being advantaged, speak out for them. Speak out on their behalf. It could be you, it could be someone else. So take it upon yourself, because you just never know who's in the situation tomorrow. It could be you next time. So just be do what you would want another person to do for you. And so if you're a girl, if you're a woman, and if you're female, if you see another girl being disadvantaged in a particular way, or maybe being affected by something, take it upon yourself to do something about it. Of course, you might not always do everything alone, but
do something.
yes, but reach out to the necessary people, reach out to the necessary authorities to try and get help for the person, because you might just be the one to save a life. So if you can't reach out in numbers, just reach out to the person next to you.
Speak up.
Take it upon yourself.
To like help them and just like help them fight their fight as girls. So thank you so much, Faith, for that wonderful section. It has been nice interacting with you on today's show. Thank you so much. Hope
Thank
to
you
see
so
you
much.
again. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Bye.
So now looking at the session with Faith, it has been wow. So yeah, we've been able to hear from our views and how some evil practices have been done in Zambia and the measures that have been put in place to put a stop to some of those evil practices. So from Abanda Sebe, we have, like she said, fight other girls fight, and you are bringing the change the world deserve. Yes,
Yeah,
we should be
that's
our
true.
sister's keeper, because if I said, okay, it does not concern me,
It does
not
not
affecting
concern
me,
you.
because it's just like a circle. It's coming back. It's going to come back for sure. But if you fight that fight now, when it comes, you will not have to like fight it again, because you've
You
been
have
able
done
to
it for someone else.
before. So that it's just like we have to fight, be our sister's keepers, and we have to like do what you want someone to do for you. That is from Abana Sabe. Do what you want someone to do for you. And from Joy Isaiah, knowledge is power. When you have the knowledge in you, yes, you build like, yes, okay, like as a girl child now, you know that, oh, I can say no to things that I don't like. So if you have that knowledge, you can stand up from your right,
you
stand
know
up for
what to
yourself.
say and what not to do. Like, it helps a lot to know your rights.
Yes, just know your right, because if you don't know your rights, you won't be able to say anything. And from Adeshina Busayo, well done, Faith. You are speaking my mind right now. The circle needs to stop. Yes, the circle of child marriage, and to every challenges the girl child is going through, every challenges the girl child is going through has to stop. And from Joy Isaiah, to be successful, you have to go the extra mile. That's it. Just go the extra mile. You have to don't be ordinary. You have to be extraordinary. Go the extra mile to be better. And we also have from Abana Sabe, you can do whatever you believe you can, irrespective of your gender, race, or background. Yes, because the thing is, if you have the dream and you don't believe in yourself, you can't achieve it. But once you have that dream and you have that self-confidence that, oh yes, I can do it, surely you'll be able to do it no matter the challenges or everything.
And someone will tell me that if you can think it, then you can do it. So once you have that idea in your head and you continue to go for your passion, there was consistency. Like, I need the thread from the first speaker to the fourth speaker. There was consistency. Like, it's not like as if they were just doing it, go for another thing, do another thing again. Like, they were consistency. Even when it was so hard for them to continue, they kept on doing the right thing. And like Faith said, she was like, you should be the change you desire.
The change you want to see in others, be that change.
The change you want to see in society. I believe strongly that once you are the change that you want to see, then the society is a better place already.
Yes, because it will keep following. When someone sees that, I love this, what this girl is, let me join and everything. So that it just keep going. And when that person starts also like, okay, I love what this person is, let me just go. So it's just a circle.
We are modeling for each other, like role models.
Good role models, exemplary role models that people can look up to, people that
I'm proud of. So that was one thing I really learned from the show. Like, there was consistency, and even Faith said empowering our girls to lead their rights, their future. Like, and that's really what Rhealyz Africa is doing here. We are empowering our girls to lead and educating them on their rights and also on their future. So we really need it. We need to talk to girls out there that, okay, this is your right. You don't allow anyone to trample on your rights. You can do this. Like, even choosing a career choice.
Yes.
You should let girls give girls the opportunity to choose what they want to do. Like, it is their life. At the end of it all, the parents just have some few years to spend with them.
So
and that's it.
And you have to live with whatever choice you make now. For the rest
So
of
why
your
should
life.
you not impose on those children what you want as a parent? Rather, let them choose one. Give them a wide array of choices to choose from. And that was like this. Like, that was one.
The extra mile, the extra mile.
That was one.
And also from Abana Asabe, be your sister's keeper. If you cannot reach out to 1,000, start by reaching out to one. Yes, just start
And
reaching out to
that's
one
the goal.
person. Once you chat to one person, like
The person talks to the
the
other,
other
talks to
person.
the other, then the
Mhm.
cycle goes round.
Yes, because I
Everyone
remember there
knows
was a time I
about
reached
it.
out to my friends on my WhatsApp status, and I was like talking about female genital mutilation. And when the person was like, someone now replied me back, I was like, wow, so this even existed. I was like, so you don't know this is actually in present? Like, wow, now he has heard about it. Then you like when he has the opportunity to talk to other people, he
He
will
will
actually
tell
pass the
them.
information. And now like that information keeps going now. Probably I see someone he has talked to about that now, and that person tells that person. So it just keeps going round and
The cycle keeps going
Mhm.
round and round. Even I was heard about it that female genital mutilation goes on in this Akure. I was surprised though.
Wow,
Because
seriously.
first of all, Akure is the capital of Odo
Those
State,
states.
so it's not a village.
Yeah, it's not.
So
It's not a
and
village
the
at all.
news is practically everywhere.
Yeah.
Even it's not allowed in government hospitals any longer.
Because the same thing with me, because when I saw it and I was like, wow, FGM in Ondo State.
Like,
I've not
is
been
it
because
still
it's like,
possible?
is it possible for
In the
FGM
digital
to be
age,
practiced
and you're
in
still
Ondo
doing these
State?
wicked acts, like even to your own children, no.
Seriously. Because looking at the pain and everything they will go through, not about
The trauma.
looking at, okay, let's not focus on the short-term effect now, because there'll be short-term effects. Now looking at the long-term effect, they will have to just live, like the scars they will have to live with for the rest of
Even
their
the trauma.
life. The trauma, and in the process, some girls do die because due to excessive bleeding and everything.
Even it leads to a disease.
Yes, disease, because if not practiced, they say it must be practiced by a medical practitioner. And probably it was not practiced by a medical practitioner, it was just practiced by traditional
older man,
circumcision
yeah.
who just uses blade. Maybe she uses one blade for
Old
almost
blade.
20 girls. And it's already rusting. And probably maybe one of the girls she has mutilated has a particular disease. Then you use for another girl, and
God.
the disease
And
just
the cycle
keeps
goes
going.
round
And they'll be
again.
wondering where she got that disease from, because it's not in the family. What happened? So like this has just been, it's just a terrible act that has to stop. And thank God in Ondo State we have the VAP law that kick against this act. And thank God it was passed, like that was it last year, something there about the act. VAP law was passed into act that anybody who mutilates a girl will be punished. Both the performer and the person who supported the act will be punished. And if they are not punished,
that's
that's
really
just the
good.
thing.
Like,
We
we
just
are
have
moving
to,
forward.
We are moving forward. We are progressing, and we just have to keep being the change you want to see in others.
So thank you so much, Realize Africa, for giving us this opportunity. Thank you so much for training us, and say thanks so much to all our guests who came and educated us on the team, empowering our guests to lead their rights, their future. Like, we cannot thank our guests enough. They did well.
Yes, they did really well.
Like, those, the remark was just so
It
much.
was
like,
just like
you can't
coming
attend this
and
session and say you're not getting one thing or the other. You
because
cannot.
the session was just like, I think they planned it.
So they trend.
It was just a trend. It was just like following each other and everything. And to our audience, those who commented, and to everyone who watched us today, thank you so much for that. We love your comment. Abana Sabe, Joy Isaiah, Joy Anthony. Thank you everyone for commenting. And Adeshino Busayo, thank you for your comments.
For your favorite emojis. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much for that. We also have Jessica Morris. Thank you for that. We have Joy Isaiah. We have Peace Isaiah too. Thank you. We also have Abana Sebe. Thank you so much for that. And to everyone, and to the Realize Africa team. Without the team, I'm sure today's event would be a success. And to our team leader here at Realize Africa, Mr. Reti Adeshida, thank you for this great opportunity. Miss Kemi, Miss Damilola, Mr. Morire, Miss Choi, Mr. Praise, Miss Ayomide, thank you all so much for making today's event a success. And from we to you, it's goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Down, I was cut. My hopes were raised, but no avail. An indelible mark was left on me.
I struggled through the pains. I struggled with depression. Silence had control over me.
But I turned my scars to stars. My future and my life is worth more than this outdated practice. I say no to female genital mutilation.
I say no to female genital mutilation.
I say no to female genital mutilation.
I, Feranmi Omolade, I rep Realize Africa.
Hi, Adediwura Afolabi, I rep Realize Africa.
I, Ifeoluwa Flourish, I rep Realize Africa.
We say no to female genital mutilation. Stop the cause, end the violence.
Life, send up to FGN. I'm waking up, they mess with their view.
Right to be free from violence and the right to be heard.
She has the right to make decisions about her future and stand by it.
Girls are rising up and they are taking their place across different sectors.
Changing life.
Breaking bias.
On this International Day of the Girl Child,
we celebrate our rights and our freedom. I, Grace, rep Rhealyz Africa. Happy International Day of the Girl Child.
It's in you, if you made it job.
Girls have the right to be free from violence and the right to be heard.
She has the right to make decisions about her future and stand by it.
Girls are rising up and they are taking their place across different sectors.
Changing life.
Breaking bias.
On this International Day of the Girl Child,
we celebrate our rights and our freedom. I, Grace, rep Rhealyz Africa. Happy International Day of the Girl Child.